Fanfic Corner, presented by Jennifer. Kabili and Beno. The heavy rains pounded harshly down on his pellet as he pushed through the endless storm. His jaw was getting tired and his legs were beginning to give out when he finally saw it, the majestic Pride Rock towering menacingly in the distance. "Hold on, little sis," he mumbled to the cub in his mouth as he picked up his pace, charging through the fiercest thunder in his desperate attempt to save his sister. He galloped up the stone ramp, heading for the cozy shelter of the den. As he neared the cave, he began to try and cry out, "Help! Someone help!" One of his paws slipped from a puddle of water on the ground, and he tumbled forward on the rock platform, feet away from his destination. He managed to let out another "help" before he slipped into the darkness of unconsciousness. A small head appeared in Pride Rock's cave opening. It was the head of the princess's nephew. A pale-colored cub poked his head out of the den and glanced around, as he thought he had heard someone. "Get away from there, Caleb," one of the lionesses inside the den called to the cub, as she was concerned for his safety. "Mother," the cub Caleb replied, "I think there's a lion cub out there." Caleb bolted out into the downpour and let his pale periwinkle eyes scan the platform. He ran over and skidded to a stop next to the cub after he'd located him. Caleb spotted the infant cub next to the other cub. "He looks my age," Caleb spoke softly to himself as he studied the older cub. Before he could ponder this more, the queen of the land, Nala, darted out of the cave and quickly examined the injured cubs. "Caleb, pick up the younger cub gently and bring her into the den. Swiftly now, come on," Queen Nala urged, lifting the older cub herself and watching warily as Kabili lifted the little infant in his mouth. The two lions carried the foreigners into the den. Kabili followed Nala into the cave further, and they set the cubs down in a dry corner. "Kabili, you can't run out into the storm like that," Kabili's mother, Vatani, scolded as she ran over to meet her cub. She gasped when she saw the two strange cubs. A few of the lionesses gathered around and began to check out the cubs. "All right," King Simba said, "give them some space. Nala, dear, how about you appoint a lioness to lie down and keep these cubs warm until they wake? I will see if I can find someone willing to locate Rafiki." "Of course," Nala responded with a smile towards her husband. She turned to her daughter. "Kiara, will you clean the younger cub up and keep her warm?" "Certainly, Mother," Kiara replied, advancing forward and lifting the cub. Caraba watched as his Aunt Kiara returned to her spot next to her husband, Kovu, and snuggled up against her mate. Kiara laid the cub in her paws and began to softly lick her clean as she murmured sweet words to the infant. Queen Nala lifted the older cub and set him in her selected laying place and curling around him and beginning to bathe him with her tongue. As Kalaba watched these things, he felt his mother come up behind him and give him a kiss on top of his head. "I will go find Rafiki, sire," Vitani spoke up. Kalaba looked at his mother, who smiled down at him as she awaited the king's reply. "Very well. Thank you for volunteering, Vitani," Simba replied, stepping over to her. "Just be fast and be careful. The weather outside is savage and unmerciful. I have lost many friends to storms like this. Will you be safe?" "Affirmative, sire," Vitani answered, changing into her military mode by altering her vocabulary and adjusting her posture. "I will be as swift and cautious as possible." Simba gave her a nod, and she bowed low before exiting the cave to perform her duties. "Bye, Mama," Kalaba said softly as he watched his mother leave. He glanced around the cave. It was dark and peaceful, except for the loud rumbles of thunder outside. He was a little tired, but after the amazing events of finding two strange cubs, he didn't want to sleep. So instead, he wandered over to Queen Nala. Kalaba watched as she cleaned the alien cub. With each stroke of her tongue, the cub's pelt became lighter until the true color was revealed. His coat was a dull gray tan. The cub's nose was like Kalba, black and pointed. Kalba was thrilled this lion cub had some similarities with him, for he feared all the other cubs born in his cubhood would be more Pridelander in appearance. Before Caraba knew it, he had laid down in front of Nala as he watched the cub being bathed. "You look sleepy, little one," Queen Nala kindly pointed out. "Come over here and lie beside this cub. He'll feel more at home when he wakes up if he has another cub his age to greet him." So Kalaba did what he was told. He moved over to Nala and the cub and cuddled up next to them. With a wide yawn, he settled his head on top of the other cub's backside and slowly closed his eyes. Nala's steady breathing and the gentle pitter-patter of rain lulled Kalaba into a deep, relaxing sleep. "The storm is absolutely awful," Kiara whispered softly to her mate as she gave the cub one last lick. "Mm-hmm." Kovu mumbled his agreement. "Sweetheart, why didn't you go out and get Rafiki?" Kiara asked him. "Vitani is perfectly capable of getting Rafiki," Kovu replied, not opening his eyes nor moving his head from his resting position. "I know, but some of the Pridelanders are worried that you don't care about what happens to the land or the animals. They are concerned you won't be a very good king, and when you don't do anything to help the kingdom, how am I to prove them wrong?" Kiara spoke gently towards her husband, not wanting to hurt him, but also wanting to get her point across. "You mean they don't trust me because I'm Zira's son," Kovu said, finally opening his eyes and giving his caring smile to his wife. "Yes, I know, but those animals are few and far between. Many of the animals understand and are okay with me being their future ruler, and they know I have a great queen to put me in my place every now and then." Kiara grinned lovingly and nuzzled into his mane. "I love you, Kovu." "I love you too, Kiara."